Hello and welcome to Site Talk series. I'm Emma Juane from Site for Society, the action-based research organization which aims to connect and mobilize academia and society towards solving local and global challenges, all in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking to Heidi Solba, the president and head of Global Network at Let's Do It World. I'll be asking her about the initiatives of World Cleanup Day, the innovative civic movement uniting 180 countries towards a cleaner planet. So hello, Heidi, and welcome.
Hello, and thank you so much inviting me. And I have a great pleasure to be and think along and talk about Let's Do It World and World Cleanup Day.
Thank you very much. So my first question for you would be, can you tell us a bit about what is your initiative about? Maybe what are the main activities that you are engaging in at Let's Do It World?
Thank you. So Let's Do It World is a global environmental organization, which is interesting that we do have active teams and leaders in 156 countries currently. And they are environmentally really active. They're doing a lot of different kind of projects, waste management or composting or segregation of the waste, working in environmental education, also with different kind of organizations, business sector, and also the school. But the biggest activity, what we are doing in really strategic level, but also implemented all together, is a World Cleanup Day. And World Cleanup Day is really big activity, really huge campaign, which is bringing together millions of people around the world to work and to be aware that we have really huge waste problem in the world. And the idea behind the World Cleanup is really big and bold, because we want to engage 5% of the Earth's population into the cleanup. Because it has been scientifically proved that 5% is changing the people's behavior, bringing them to bigger awareness about their waste and also how it relates to the climate change. And for us, what we have been witnessed is the most important thing, that it's catalyzing the positive collaborations between different society groups, but also different kind of stakeholders like governments, like business sector, like universities, like youth, like other NGOs and communities. So World Cleanup Day is working like a great momentum by bringing all these groups together and catalyzing them into their new great forms of collaborations. And that's really interesting. And also what we started to do is this kind of huge regional projects. So we try to implement, or just currently are piloting, implementation of their African education project, also Latin America composting segregation project. And probably there will be a waste bank project for Asia, and also something hopefully about the circular economy for Europe group. This is what we are doing.
Wow, that sounds amazing. That's a lot of projects. And I would like to ask you, World Cleanup Day, as you mentioned, grew quite big lately. So could you tell me a bit about the origins of the project, or how did it all start?
Yes, it started from Estonia. I'm from Estonia. I'm purely Estonian. In 2008, it started as a national project. And as usually, great ideas come from one single person. It might be really bold, it might be even stupid, and even naive, and people doesn't actually believe into this. And it's exactly what happened in Estonia as well. It was so amazing when one person is saying that, let's clean up our country, but let's do it in a single day, just in one day with all our communities and citizens. And it was 2008, and I remember I was not working in Let's Do It World. I was in another organization, which was business sector organization. I worked as a human resource manager, and it was calling me right away because it was bold, it was a little bit stupid, it was really big of this kind of challenging, never heard before, absolutely out of scopes. And I was thinking, I want to be related to this project. I didn't know that I will be in this organization like several years later, but I engage our organization employees and they families into this be part of this first national cleanup. And the preparation time for the first national cleanup day was 6 months. There were 560 partners who were working with the project. In the end of the day, or on that day, there were participation of 50,000 people, which is approximately 4.8% of Estonian population, which is this critical 5%, but I mentioned already before. And it had really huge change in our society. And one thing what I want to say is that usually this kind of civic movements and NGOs are doing something which maybe is really critical to do in society. There is some kind of gap in society, some kind of problems in the society. And this kind of groups are really great way to solve it really fast by mobilizing, by solving and helping the government maybe to deal with this kind of problems. So there was a measure, we measured that that preparation was 6 months, but if the government might be doing the same project, the preparation time might be 3 years. And the calculation was that, let's do it, Estonia made it in with the amount of money which was less than 500,000, but for the government it might be cost 22.5 million euros. And I think for the government it's really strong message that in great cooperation with this kind of movements who are solving any kind of problem which is in the societies, is something where to collaborate together, because in the end of the day we have the same aim, which is security, which is health being, which is good environment in our country. So but what happens after that, it's we had some other countries also on the board, and I think the next really great this kind of story is about the Slovenia. Let's do it Slovenia, who had really huge cleanups. They engaged 14% of the population, which means each 7 person who were able to walk, who was not baby, who was not sick, who was not old enough, came to their cleanup. And why it was important, exactly what I said before, to engage big mass. You have already this kind of disputes in society, firstly, and it allows people to understand the issue and topic, and also the government started to work on their circular economy principles, zero waste principles. And I know that Ljubljana is segregating the waste already like in 71%, which is the capital of Slovenia, and Slovenia itself is doing more than 60%. So there are really high rates, and I'm absolutely sure that this kind of process, what Slovenia did had with the cleanups, by engaging huge percent of the people and also government, was a major catalyzer in order to make this kind of really big shift and change in societies and so in waste management. We had an idea that instead of having the model, to clean up the country in one day, we have to clean up the whole world in just one day. So if it's doable in one country, then it's doable in other countries as well. And eventually, I think it could be also in global level, which means that in China and India, which is like 40% of the Earth's population, supposed to have a special strategy, right?
Yes, I think it's really crazy how you started with such a project that sounded so bold, and in the end it grew so much, especially for something that is such an important problem. But this would also lead me to some following questions, because as you probably know, our main focus at Site for Society is on the site variables, so science, innovation, technology, and engagement, and what is their role for attaining the objectives of projects and initiatives like yours. So let me first ask you, what is the innovation that Let's Do It World brings?
Yes, in technology level, it's one thing, but we are doing social innovation, right? For example, we are doing digital cleanup, which has started from 21st of March, and digital cleanup worldwide level is the first, this kind of really big campaign which is run by the Let's Do It World as well. We are really technology-based country, and we realize that everything what we are using does also combine a lot of waste and waste, some kind of things what we are not on information or folders or blurry photos or copy of copies, even in clouds what we are not using, and we started to look at it, what it means, and and we realized that actually there are a lot of talks in the world, and there are also investigations or this kind of disputes, but also materials about the digital waste, but not so much. And now it seems it's more and more each day. It's a big topic in the world, because we are so digital, because we are so global, and we are so locked down. So we definitely have to be working with each other in this way. And so yes, we are studying this topic. It is innovation. We have raised this question among many organizations. Seems that it's really appetite for different kind of business sector organizations. It's really understandable for also technology related people, but there's supposed to be really great calculations behind of that. What's the cost to environment? So digital cleanup, we want to raise awareness about the topic, be more aware about it. For the business sector, it's also opportunity during 1 month, starting from 21st March, when we have this campaign, during 1 month to have a possibility to work on the processes in the organization, to delete everything which is not needed, to look at the servers, because everything is, in the end of the day, needing an energy, right? And energy is so much related to CO2. So this is a correlation between different kinds of topics. And one thing what we wanted also to address in Let's Do It World, that we have also another campaign which is related to World Cleanup Day, and it's doable with the individual cleanup, is to work on the cigarette butts, this kind of pollution. And it was also really huge topic in our organization, among our partners in our network, that cigarette butts, they have been produced 6.5 billion cigarette butts in the in annually, but 4.8 billions ending up in the nature. So it's a huge majority of them, and it's consisting 12,000 microfibers, and usually it goes directly to the oceans and seas and rivers and lakes, and people are not aware about it, because also one of the surveys global one have been showing that 76% of the people think that it's compostable, it's biodegradable, it's something, it's tobacco, right? So it's nature, but the filter is not. So innovation in this way, that we are raising the awareness, we are trying to change the world through that, to bring a change in behavior.
I think that's really great, and you're also reaching a lot of people with such initiatives. So since we also talked about it earlier, you talked about the amount of people in each country that joined already the event in the previous years. I'm also wondering, how do you actually manage to create such engagement with the people taking part in these initiatives? Because you have all age groups, so many countries, for example, people that also have less access to social media, for example. So it's a very diverse target group. But then we wonder, how do you do such a crazy thing?
I started to find the leaders who were bold enough to think that, yes, we can engage 5%. Let's work on this in 2018. And then it was question for the leaders. Of course, one thing you have to see that you have the same value, the understanding why you are doing it, what is behind of your motives, or do you have the passion, or do you have also your network who is supporting you as a leader with so crazy idea? Can you believe that you are in India and you're saying that you want to engage 5% of Indian people? and work on the waste management. This is really hard. But then the leaders asking, okay, but how I'm doing it? It means how I'm building out the team, how I'm working with the government, how I do engage our local municipalities. Suddenly for leader, it means to run this kind of project if you want to be successful, and it takes sometimes years because of many reasons, is to build up the team, to work with the logistics, because you're working with so much of amount of waste, for example, work with the municipality for that as well, because you have to have approval from them where to put all this, you know, what you're collecting during the day, but also how to work further with local municipality toward sustainable solutions later on, work with community, work with the government, work with the media, work with the press, work with project management, work with even with certificates or this kind of communication. Behind of that, and also resources, all the partners, behind of that is a really huge project. And I always have been saying to the leaders, this project will come to change you forever, because this is daily based work out of comfort zone, and you will be developing yourself, not just as a best leader in environmental field, but you are foremost developing yourself as a human. And I have been witness it, and I think this is a really great way to see the success stories around the world from different leaders, how they have been grown up, women in countries where woman is not leader, but they are leaders and they're doing big things. And this is really great empowerment for them. Leaders, then is a question how to do it, and then is empowerment. And this is the hardest thing in civic movement, right? Everybody can say it, because you don't have any motivational packages like usually organization does have. There is no salary, there is no holiday, there is no nothing. Only thing what we have is a sense of belonging together, sense of being family, sense of sharing, empowerment to each other, involvement of their network into decision-making process and transparency of the organization, if you talk about in organizational language. So we give a responsibility and an ability to think about different kinds of projects, what we can implement at global level, at regional level, to run those. If it's now we started all these processes, and it comes to empower the persons and people. Plus, this kind of work is also really great to expand and build up your personal network as well. Because you, as a leader, you have to work with heads of communities, with CIOs of big corporates, with national president, with prime minister, because currently we are doing also survey each year with our network in order to understand what is the healthiness of the organization. And we have happy leaders index with 3 questions. And one of the question is how they feel belonging to this organization, how they see that they're creating an impact, and how they see that it's have been valued in the society. And out of 10, the feedback for this year was 8.2. And we had back 70% of the surveys from all the network, which is really huge percentage. This is something which is so great to look at and to understand, to understand what's behind of that. So they are proud. They have feel of belonging. They do see that they're creating the impact, and I think this is a happy leader who is doing a meaningful work. And if you have empowerment, which is coming back from the leaders, or you have empowerment coming back from the success stories, and you love people and you love what you do, and it resonates with your soul and with your spirit, then you can have the contribution as well. Then you have inner motivation as well, and you can do it.
Yes, I have to say this is very, very impressive. It shows a great amount of work, of passion, of use of resources. It's really amazing. I think people like you, I have to say, are really inspiring. So yeah, and you have this really ultimate goal of sustainability, saving the environment, helping people, helping countries develop. I think that's really amazing. And I also wonder then, since Let's Do It World obviously has those goals as a main mission, but how do you also ensure that your organization is sustainable over time in itself? So in terms of maybe economic and societal aspects as well.
Yeah, it is really hard. It's another very hard question to any kind of NGO, especially on those days when many organizations, corporates also are in the moment of even survival, right? So for Estonia, I'm Estonian. Our HQ is also in Estonia. We have several people working there. Sometimes we're working as a voluntary, 24/7. 24/7 we are working all the time, but sometimes we're working as a volunteer as well. And I think it is part of this world. And for us, is sometimes it's to secure this project, to go forward with the project is really important. It's partly related also to the story of Estonia. So your citizens, and it's like keeping this action which actually has born in Estonia also alive. So it's a question of your nation somehow. It's related to all of that. So this is one thing, but another thing I'm just thinking that there is, in my opinion, or as far I do know, there is not so much of this kind of huge organization who does have active teams in so many countries and acting like one army for one strategy. And it's and sometimes I'm thinking that it means that we have to be super ethical to hold it alive, because it might be creating a lot of influence and impact, and it's supposed to be ethical. It's supposed to be serving the world and humans, and we have to be really careful how we are doing it, and we have to also be super smart. So of course, not answering directly to your question, but I said that it's hard. And for example, last year we were 100% financed by Estonian government, and I want to say it out how grateful we are as a huge movement. What was supported by tiny Estonia, which does have 1.34 million people in the country as population. But for Estonian government, it's also something which have been well known as a big project, as what has been rolling around the world and making really big this kind of changes. And I do see that this is growing. And we have to keep it alive with any possibilities. We have to keep it alive.
Then I would also like to ask you also a bit from my personal side as a student. Maybe I can also talk for other students here in Maastricht or in general. What would you like to achieve in the future? Because I know many people are interested in sustainability, and such organizations are so inspiring that we want to help. And so I wonder, what do you try to achieve over a longer period of time, and how can also people, researchers, students as myself, how can we help you to even achieve those goals?
Yeah, one of the achievements, or what we wanted to do, is what I said already, work clean up day 5%. We also have been thought that we'd like to run this kind of network of the youth, because we do see that also in our network a lot of young people. With some of them we are working also with UNESCO, creating the blogs, talking about waste and 5 hours and Let's Do It Well, the work cleanup day. But youth are really important, because I have been witness that I think our young generation is really aware about the climate change and situation. And definitely it does have really huge influence to everybody's life, but especially your life. And therefore you are more active, therefore you are more innovative. And you know, I'm just sitting here right now when you ask this question. It would be really great if we have some kind of a group of people who want to contribute into Let's Do It World as a young people, and think out some kind of great programs or some kind of great activities what the Let's Do It World with you can do, or you can run within Let's Do It World. So I'm opening the door. I'm inviting in. Just what we need is to share this kind of ideas, what it's possible to do. So I believing in your wisdom, I believing in your energy. I am a person of collaboration. And by the way, one of their values of our values of Let's Do It World is people, positivity, and collaboration. So we believe that we can make the change in the world with the people and through the positive collaborations. So the door is open, and we can definitely have this kind of think tank to think what we could do. But also other thing is, as I already mentioned before, that to find different kind of surveys or questions where we can work with science, or we can serve the science through the different kind of questions what have been raised for social innovation, for the social innovation, and what could be appetite for the scientist. And also, of course, what we currently are doing, we are working on the registration platform for the World Cleanup Day, and probably we will have also really great this kind of data. And we can, from that, we can work also with different kind of questions, which is related to this kind of people behavior and so on. Yes, this is one of the topics which came on my mind promptly.
Yeah, I think that's really amazing. It's really a really good idea. So hopefully when we share this video, we get some more people that would be on board with this really great idea of creating something more. But as you said, I think nowadays the youth is really getting more and more aware. Like, for example, also with this, some leaders like Greta Thunberg, or so I think we have some chances ahead. And I would also like to mention, because I think it's very important, that this year's World Cleanup Day is coming up soon. So on the 20th of March, it will be the digital cleanup day, and then soon afterwards, the World Cleanup Day in September. So would you like to add something about that for people that are watching us that want to participate maybe?
Yes, we have a platform. When you're going to worldcleanupday.org website, everything is there. We have extra website also for the digital cleanup. All the information, background, how it's related to CO2, calculations, everything is on the website. So simply follow worldcleanupday.org, and you have many information about the digital cleanup too. Follow our Facebook. There is many stories from the leaders. And yes, and we have network news as well, and many channels, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We are using all of them. And I also liked your idea, and also my thought regarding if you have a community in school who wants to contribute, just simply thinking out what could be different kind of activities related to the youth and also environment. Then we can have an extra discussions on that. And if you want to make some kind of surveys or some kind of master or any kind of work, I think it could be done also with us. So we can provide a big this kind of scope of feedbacks from different kind of countries. So there is also really great chance to work together.
Okay, thank you very much. Honestly, I feel very motivated by by this discussion. So hopefully everyone watching this will feel the same. So yeah, thank you very much, Heidi, for coming today and sharing this super nice initiative with us. I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you so much for inviting, and it was a really great pleasure to share everything from my head and from my heart.